the thing is, if they would, Banksy was doing like artwork, like obviously with no permission, spraying the inside of an entire carriage with rats and saying, like, basically, he was trying to, at the time, I think it was this time last year, trying to bring attention to COVID and wearing a mask. So he had all these rats sneezing. That's actually quite socially conscious, trying to educate people. And obviously, in a cynical ploy, Transport for London took that train out of service and just put it into a museum. It's like, that's not where graffiti is supposed to be seen, man. It's supposed to be on the streets. Yeah. Sorry, I'm getting really angry by this. But yeah.
No, I watched a documentary on this because it's, it was like about Banksy and who's the other guy that he's like rival that passed away. Robbie? Yeah. Rob. What the heck's his name? Robo, yes. But the documentary was awesome. It just kind of got into the culture and how a lot of graffiti artists viewed Banksy as like a sellout because his were a little bit too orchestrated. Another thing I found interesting is Banksy. I love Banksy. I think his stuff is really cool, and I like the messages behind his work. I like how much thought goes into him, but a lot of his design inspiration came from other artists. So like he wasn't the first to do the stencils. Like that was like there's been plenty of other graffiti artists that kind of create the stencils and then spray it. I think he was the one that made it popular. But when I lived in New York, there was 2 or 3 Banksys within walking distance, and since they've been they're only up for like a very short amount of time before they're vandalized unless they're protected. And then obviously everyone now cuts them out of the wall and they resell them. But that's just I'm going down a rabbit hole. But I do find this incredibly interesting, and I think I've seen some of the coolest graffiti in the entire world. It has to be in London. Like there's just so much cool like